everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Dr. Roberta Westbrook, and I am the Chief Veterinarian here at the Houston SPCA, the campus for all animals. Thank you again for joining us. We have an exciting show for you today. Lots of great information. We are going to talk about how you know whether your pet is too fat or too thin. Okay, so very exciting. Start getting your questions together. Start looking at your dogs and cats at home and try to see if you can determine whether your pets are too fat or too thin. How do you feel about their body condition? Before we get into that, I want to show you guys my friend here. This is Marv. Look at Marv. Marv is approximately a 4-year-old Chihuahua who's already neutered and available for adoption. Marv came to us because he was hit by a car. And when he was hit by a car, he was seriously injured, and it required that he have surgery to remove his eye. So Marv is actually one-eyed, but he is the cutest little one-eyed Chihuahua we've ever seen, right? And he's so well-behaved, so sweet. Say hi, Marv. Say hi to everyone. Come down to our campus. You do not need an appointment to look at the animals up for adoption. You don't need an appointment to come in, take a look at the dogs and cats and puppies and kittens and see who's available for adoption. You're welcome. Face masks are required. We'll be happy to have you on our campus. I'm going to get started talking to you about pet nutrition. Marv's going to hang out. So as you're getting your questions together, I'm going to jump right to it. We are going to show you a cat, a sweet little cat named Lily, who is also available for adoption. Lily is a cat that has a really good body condition. Let's see if we can move Lily back here. This is Lily. I know it's hard to see her, but Lily has a really good body condition. Lily is not too fat and not too thin. I know it's hard to tell because of her coat, and she's kind of crouched down a bit. But Lily is a really good body condition. We oftentimes see cats that are really round and robust, and we think that that might be normal, but we actually want our pets to have a slimmer body type, very much like we like to have ourselves, because slimmer body types are associated with longer lives. There was a study done several years ago that said slimmer body types in animals can actually add up to 2 years to their lifespan. So we want those animals to have a thin body type, like Lily here. Look at Lily's waist. You can kind of see Lily's waist here. We want to have a waist. I'm missing that myself, so I need to get one of those. Yeah, there we can see Lily a little bit better. So Lily has a nice slim body type. This is what we like to see, okay? Okay, this is a good example. We're going to take Lily away. We're going to show you the opposite end. So after I show you this next cat, you try to look at your own cat at home if you have a cat and see where your cat fits in. Is your cat closer to Lily, which is a normal body type, slimmer body type, or is your cat closer to Shelby? Shelby is an adorable cat who's also up for adoption. Whoa. Can you see the difference in Shelby and Lily? Look at Shelby here. Shelby is probably 2 to 2.5 times the size of Lily. Shelby is very round cat, very cute, very sweet, but Shelby is what we would consider overweight for a cat. And we are going to talk in more detail about how we know that. If you are looking at your pet, I love that she's standing up right now. You really want them to have a waist when you look at them from the side. We should see a little waist, a tuck up in Shelby's abdomen here, tuck up there. And if we were to look at Shelby from the top down, we would want her to have a waist. We would want it to kind of narrow in right behind her rib cage. So just behind our rib cage, we want to narrow in. The same thing for our dogs and cats. We want it to narrow in a little bit right behind the rib cage. Okay. We've got another pet that we're going to show you, Sammy, who's excited. That's who you're hearing in the background. But Shelby is also available for adoption. We are working on getting Shelby to a healthy weight. If you think you can take Shelby into your home and help us work on getting her back to a healthy weight and a wonderful home, come see us. She'll be available for adoption. But this is a cat who we're working on losing weight, getting her close to Lily's body type. Okay? Okay, thank you so much, Shelby. So again, when we're talking about healthy pets, just like us for our lives, we are considering diet and exercise. Diet and exercise. So I know it's summer, it's hot. We want to be careful about exercising our pets too much outside in this heat, but try to work in some sort of exercise routine in with your pets every day. Even if it's playing fetch in the backyard, even if it's using a laser pointer inside your living room and the air conditioning to get your cat moving a little bit, we want to encourage you to exercise your pets. I will also touch on a little bit of nutrition for pets, because if you're a veterinarian, please take your pets to the veterinarian. If your veterinarian wants to put your pet on a weight loss diet, please follow that diet. Let's try to get these pets back to a great weight. So put those questions in the comments. We are going to have you look now at the dog side of things. So I want you to take a look at Hank here. Look at the face on Hank, number one. He's so cute. But when we look at Hank's body, I want you to notice how right away you can see Hank's ribs very, very well. You can count them. Hank came to us as a cruelty case, unfortunately. He was malnourished and had some injuries. We are working on getting Hank all the way better. But Hank is too thin. Hank is a Mastiff mix. Hank should not have such prominent ribs, pelvic bones, or the bones along his back, the spinal column. You can look at Hank and tell that he's been malnourished for quite some time. And we are going to work slowly to get Hank to gain weight in a healthy manner, put him on a really good diet, a well-balanced diet. So, Hank is probably what we would consider too thin. He's very active though. Really good dog, very active. He's doing well. He's already gained weight, if you can believe that, since he's been with us. He's already gained weight. So this is Hank. Hank hopefully will be available for adoption soon. But if you notice the hip bones on Hank, the ribs, and the spinal column on Hank, these are too prominent. We don't want you to be able to see these bones on your pet. Now, I will say certain breeds of dogs like sighthounds, greyhounds, Salukis, there's several breeds of dogs that normally have very thin body types, and you can see their ribs and their pelvic bones quite readily in some animals. But for most breeds, particularly like a Mastiff that should be a very hefty breed, Hank is too thin. Okay, so now you see a good example. Okay, Hank's gonna go hang out and we're gonna show you the opposite there, the opposite. So go ahead and put those questions. Are there any questions so far from the audience? Anything I can help you answer about your pets?
Yeah, so Janie wants to know her cat Bunny is on a diet but hasn't lost any weight. How long should you wait till you start seeing results?
That's a great question. So we expect animals to lose about 1% to 2% of their body weight per week when we are trying to get them to lose weight. So even though visually it could look like Bunny may not be losing weight, actually, weigh her and do some of the math and see if maybe it's just a very small amount. And make sure that your diet has been prescribed by your veterinarian, because there's mathematic calculations that we want to work through to make sure that Bunny is on the appropriate weight loss diet. So make sure you get that diet confirmed by your veterinarian, feed a prescription diet or one that's been outlined by your veterinarian. So I want you guys to take a look at our next example here. Our next example is a really cute, wonderful dog who's been waiting to get his turn out here on camera. This is Sammy. And as you can see, Sammy is a big dog, but Sammy also has a very round or square body shape, as you can see. When you compare Sammy to the dog that we just saw, to Hank, you cannot see Sammy's ribs it's probably very difficult to even feel Sammy's ribs. Ideally, you want to be able to feel your pet's ribs, but not visibly see every single one of them. So Sammy has quite a lot of fat deposit over his rib cage that prevents us from being able to feel his ribs. And as you can see, he doesn't have much of a waist. He's kind of square and even bulging out a little bit round toward the front of his body and around the abdomen. So Sammy would be considered overweight. And so we are also working to get Sammy into a more healthy body condition, just like we're working on the cat Shelby. So both of them are on weight loss diets. We are using Hill's Pet Nutrition to help us do that. What a sweet dog. He's still very active. And that's just something else to think about. Pets that have higher than normal body conditions, they're overweight, they can suffer from additional health issues. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping them at a healthy body weight so that we can prevent those health issues. They can get insulin resistance that can contribute to diabetes. They can have joint problems, heart problems, respiratory problems. All of those things can come as a result of being too overweight. So this is Sammy, great dog. Sammy is with us because he had an injury to his ear. So he underwent surgery recently to fix that injury. What a happy dog. Oh yeah, you found his tickle spot there. He's still a very happy and active dog. And we have every reason to believe that he's going to get into that healthy body weight very, very soon with the help of diet and exercise and Hill's Pet Nutrition. What other questions can I help you with now that you've seen some examples?
So Joan wants to know, is it okay to keep a food feeder on the floor, the storage?
Oh, that's a great question. So it depends on the pet that you have. Some pets are really good at getting into that food feeder. If you mean an automatic feeder, if you mean one that is going to just deposit food as your pet is eating, it depends on your pet. So some pets are very good at regulating their appetite, and they will kind of graze throughout the day, which is not bad. Grazing throughout the day is not bad. But if you know you have the type of pet who is going to try to eat all day long and just continue to eat without kind of feeling satiated, then it might not be a good idea to keep that free feeder out all the time. So I would say two things. Number one, look at your pet and see if they have a good body condition. If they have a good body condition, you can see a nice waist, they are slim and trim, what you're doing is fine. But if you notice that your pet is in shape, and by in shape, I mean round, if you're noticing that is what's happening with your pet, maybe the free feed might not be the best idea. You can talk to your veterinarian about how to adjust that. You could also maybe use that free feeder, but with a different type of food, a weight loss type of food. So it's possible, but I would say start with looking at your pet. What else can I help you guys with? Great question.
So Terry wants to know, what is the best dog food for puppies? She's got a Boston Terrier and an 11-year-old. Oh, and an 11-year-old.
Oh, yes. And maybe you're trying to also juggle how to keep their food separate, because oftentimes the adult may want to eat the puppy food because it's so tasty, and the puppy may want to eat the adult food. So you may be trying to juggle that. And there's lots of wonderful puppy foods out there. By Hill Science Diet, they make a puppy food, and you can purchase that food according to the size of your pet. So they make them for small and toy breeds, medium breeds, and then larger working breeds. So you can feed a pet food like that. But for older dogs, you mentioned you had 11-year-old, they tend to need less calories. So you're trying to balance an older dog that needs less calories, that may not be as active, with a smaller active dog that's growing that needs more calories and maybe a different nutrient profile. So you are going to have to be careful about picking diets that are good for both of them and trying to keep them separate. There's lots of great diets out there. There are diets for geriatric pets and diets for puppies. I would just make sure that you go to your local pet store, look at the different Hill's Pet Nutrition brands for the life stage that your pet is in.
So Patrick has a question. He wants to know, if a food is more if a food is more expensive, does that mean it's a better food? Like what are those considerations?
Well, we get tricked by that a lot, right? We think that because a product is more expensive, that it automatically means that it's better. And that's certainly not the case all the time. Again, every animal is different and has different caloric needs, depending on their exercise level, the breed that they are, the life stage that they are. And so certainly foods are different in terms of their quality, but it doesn't always match the price. So talk to your family veterinarian about what diet is appropriate for your pet. I wish I could give you a specific example, but it really does depend on the type of breed that you have, how old they are, what your lifestyle is like in terms of what diet they need. And so maybe don't worry a lot about the cost, worry about the quality and what is needed for your individual pet. So good question, but it needs a little bit more digging into.
So Jamie has a question. In addition to pet food, she knows that exercise is important. What should she do if she's got a cat who doesn't really want to play?
Yes. Yeah. So trying the laser pointer, they don't want to play. They don't want to chase anything. I get it. They just want to lay on the couch. Try to make them start working for their food. Ooh. So instead of just putting their food down for them so they can, walk right over and eat that food, start elevating the food. Make your pet cat have to jump a little bit to get the food. And if your cat's too heavy right now to jump high, you can always start small. You can just elevate the food bowl a little bit using a stair or a ramp or something, so that maybe your cat has to use a ramp to climb up to the food or jump onto the washing machine. For some of us who feed our cats in the washing machine, maybe your cat has to jump up there to eat the food or onto the counter. That can help them work for their food instead of just having it given to them without any additional calories being burned.
Joan wanted to know if pets tend to gain weight once they've been spayed or neutered, or is there any connection to that?
That's a great question. We hear that all the time. After being spayed or neutered, it seems like my pet has gained weight. And there's a little bit of truth to that. The thing that happens is once an animal is spayed or neutered, their hormone balance is going to change a little bit. They may not have the testosterone. They're not going to have the estrogen that they would normally have if they were intact animals. And sometimes that can mean that they have different energy requirements. And because they have different energy requirements, all that means is that you just have to adjust their food a little bit. It doesn't mean that spaying them makes them fat or neutering makes them fat. It just means that it could change their energy requirements. And so you have to pay attention to how much you're feeding. Make sure you're following the back of the food bag according to your pet's life stage and ideal body weight, and you should be fine. Keep that exercise up as well, regular exercise. So as you're coming up with more questions, I do kind of have, it may be hard to see, but I do kind of have this really general body condition scoring system. And so again, when you're trying to evaluate your pet's body condition, an underweight dog, you may notice that you can see their hip bones, that you can see their spinal column, that you can see their ribs. And unless they are a breed where that's normal, these are usually sight hounds, the greyhounds, Italian greyhounds, Salukis. Unless you have a breed like that, you should not be able to see all of the bones in their skeleton. Okay. An ideal body weight, you want them to have a waist that kind of tucks in just behind their rib cage. And when you look at them from the side, you want to see what we call an abdominal tuck. You want to see their abdomen tuck in a little bit. If you notice that your pets are starting to bulge out on the sides, there's no waist and they're either square or becoming round, then your pet might be overweight. Have your veterinarian do an exam and confirm your findings. What other questions are out there?
I actually think that's it. We're all out of time.
Well, thank you guys. I know that was quick. We are happy to be here for you to help answer your questions. Please make your way down to the Houston SPCA and help us get some of these animals healthy. Consider being a monthly donor. Go to HoustonSPCA.org/donate and consider being a monthly donor to help us get some of these animals healthy and into adoptive homes. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next week.